Some of the tables, other tables that we use, are things like this that has months and their numbers assigned to them. Now, if you're going to be working with doing the birth date, you're going to need to know what valuation each month has. So having a little chart like this or table really helps you connect with it. And it's done January through December, 1 through 12. Very simple, easy to remember. So you may not always need to look at the chart, but sometimes your brain may go, I can't remember, so you can look at the chart. Okay, another chart that you have is the astrological signs and their valuations. Okay, again, 1 through 12, because there are 12 astrological charts, signs. So what you're going to do is it starts off Aries, which is a 1, then Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, 1 through 12. So, you might forget these a little more often than you would forget the months valuation numbers, but it's really good to have on hand, especially when you're trying to figure out. The thing you're going to use for that mostly is the destiny direction. Okay, so that's something like that. Now, another chart that you're going to use, you get quite a bit of information from, is the inclusion table. Okay, the inclusion table looks something like this, and you're going to have numbers 1 through 9, and across from it, you're going to put how many letters actually, how many of those numbers add up to a 1. So you look at the chart, and you see that Michael has 4 ones in it. So you're going to write opposite the 1, 4. He has no 2s, so you're going to put a 0. And he has 3 3s, 3 4s, 6 5s, okay? That's his ruling number because he's got the most 5s. He's ruled by a desire for change and variety in his life because that's primarily what the number 5 means. Now, number 6 he only has 1 of, and 7 he has 1 of. Those tell you weak notes. Okay, those are things that he's working on in this lifetime and that he's worked on in other lifetimes. And you'll notice that he already has some 6s in his chart. So that means that he's already been given, he's come into this lifetime with that vibration that he needs to work on to strengthen his sense of community and self and his place in it and responsibility and stuff like that. So he's working on that. He's given himself a lot by the name he has. Now, the 7 he needs to work on is analyzing and thinking things out a little bit better. And so he's going to be given opportunities in this life to work on that. Now, the 0, where you have the 0, that is a karmic lesson. That means you don't have any of that. It's something that you came into this lifetime to work on. So he came in to work on a 2, which deals with being more cooperative, diplomatic, giving service selflessly, and stuff like that. So it's like he is choosing to work on that in many ways. He will find opportunities to do that with. Life always gives you the opportunities you need for the lessons you need to learn. And this is reflected in our numerology chart. Now, another thing that you can find from the inclusion table is your subconscious self. This is basically how you react without thinking about stuff. You just react, okay? And so you're going to get that by taking the amount of zeros you have and subtracting it from the number 9. He has 1 0, so he subtracts 1 from 9 and gets an 8. So his subconscious self is an 8. So without thinking about things, he often acts in a manner which might be efficient, or geared towards the physical side of life, the material side of life. In an emergency situation, he might just go for, woof, let's do this and do that, and be very pragmatic about it. So that's your subconscious self. Now you also get the valuation. You add up all the letters right here. You add all those up, and his comes to 23. So he has 23 letters in his alphabet. And that's going to give him a sense of, again, that sort of that 5 feeling, that variety, that change for, he needs some change in his life. He can't just do the same thing all the time. And that's fine. That's good. That's where his peculiarities are. That's his idiosyncrasies and stuff that you have are your peculiarities. Now, another chart we have is one that has elements on it. Now, you have 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. And the fire element, the numbers they evaluate to are 1, 3, and 9. Earth is 4, 6, and 8. Air is 5, 6, and 11. Water is 2, 7, and 22. Okay, now we get this from the inclusion table as well. We're showing what it is. But the inclusion table, if you remember, doesn't go to 11 and 22. Those are thrown in with the number 2. So if you have any 11s, you would put it in that line of 2. If you have any 22s, you would put in a line of 4. But when you're doing the element chart, those are shown to be right there. Okay? So you're going to line up, and you've got 2 areas where 6s are shown, because 6s have both value with earth and air. It resonates to both. It's like a hybrid number. Now, an example that you would do is you're going to work this out, and you're going to write down fire, and you're going to write all the ones. So he's got 4 1s, he's got 3 3s, and 3 9s. That adds up to a 10. And the others are all added up in the same way. And you can see 10 for fire. He's got fire as his dominant element. That means he's very likely passionate about many things, might be easy to anger, stuff like that, but mostly passionate about things. Now, your table of expression is where we get a lot of the numbers of the alphabet go in, and how you express yourself. And it's like they each have a valuation here. And these mental things, this is, physical, emotional, and intuitional. Those are ways you may express yourself. And the area of activity is done across from this. These are all going across. And that's inspired, dual, or balanced. Now in his chart, he has planes of expression. He has more lined up in the mental thing. So he's going to express himself in a more mental capacity, more thinking, just trying to figure stuff out and be a little more practical. Now his area of activity is very inspired. He's got 10 of those. So he's going to be inspired. He's likes to start things, lots of ideas. So those are your basic charts. And we'll be back later with something more.